Like your reigning top field champion Tyler Hilton said, we'll see you in March, and March is right around the corner. We are 2 weeks away from the fabled March Meet, the 65th running of the March Meet. Like I said, just 2 weeks away. What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 6 of the Kings of the Sport podcast, streaming live here on Competition Plus and American Hot Rod Entertainment. As always, I'm your host, Darren Williams Jr., and joining me, as always, is my man, the West Texas hustler, Michael Anderson. How's it going, Michael?
Man, good. How's everybody doing, man? I had to make a little mad dash. Had some technical difficulties. Got a northern blowing in here at the house, and you know how this signal is out here in West Texas. It ain't too damn good. So, anyways, I think we're good now. Man, I'm pumped. Like we got 2 weeks. We're going to be sitting in Bakersfield, California, lighting up some nitro, man. So it's all good around here.
It's that West Texas Wi-Fi, correct? That's what it was.
Yeah, West Texas Wi-Fi, man. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible.
Well, we talk about Wi-Fi though, but for you, the West Texas Hustler car actually started up for the first time this past weekend, correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we got it cranked up. We did a few upgrades on it. Put a dry sump system on the car. Got a bunch of new stuff that we're trying to work through. But in the end, 10 minutes before the Super Bowl, we had it fired up. Sounded good. Shut her off, and then I ran up to the house to watch that Super Bowl game. So yeah, it was a good weekend all the way around.
Awesome. Who are you going for before we move on? Were you going for Chiefs or Eagles? Who are you pulling for?
All in all, I've been watching Patrick Mahomes since he was a freshman at Texas Tech. I'm a Texas Tech guy, man, from way back when. I like both the teams. I mean, I'm a Cowboys fan. Everybody knows that. They can say whatever they want to say, but all in all, I'm a Cowboys fan. But I thought it was really cool that both quarterbacks were from Texas. So it was a win-win for all of us. Great game. Oh my God, I feel like Philly got a little bad into the deal on that call, but I don't know that it would have changed the end of it.
It was a little bit of a ticky-tack call. You could have let it pass, but correct me if I'm wrong. Mahomes is from Tyler, Texas, correct?
White House. So yeah, okay. Kind of just in between Tyler and Dallas area there.
I have family from Tyler. Well, what's from Tyler, like different generations. So
yeah, man, cool. the old Tyler Rose, Bubba, right? Our old Campbell coming out of that area. That's a cool deal. Actually, one of his nephews goes to school right here in Abilene, plays for Hardin-Simmons University right now.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
So thank you guys all for tuning in here tonight to episode 6 of the Kings of the Sport podcast. And we got 2 great guests for you here tonight. First off, in the Nitro Funny Car class, one of the great rising stars in Nitro Funny Car, Kamaka Pocock, driver of the California Hustler. Excited to talk to him. Like I said, he's a great young star rising. And then Michael, we have a legend, not just in the world of top field racing, but a legend in the world of drag racing, Mr. Jim Murphy. How about that, man?
Man, the first time that I met Jim and got to sit down and talk with him a little bit, and his number one hand, Daniel, over there, it was like, a plethora of information that overload. I mean, like these guys have been doing it their whole life. I mean, Jim's been doing it his whole life. And like everything that these guys say, if they're talking to you, you better be listening, because it's unbelievable the amount of information these guys can kick towards your way, especially like a new guy like me. Came into the sport, and man, they started talking to me like they knew me for 20 years. Great guy, great race team. All of his crew's a bunch of cool dudes, man. I've hung out with all of them. So yeah, man, it's fun to hang out with old Mr. Murphy. And what's I got to get this right. Because I've been called out on it. He's 80. He's not 81. He's 80 years old. So I just want to correct that, because on the last show I think I said he was 81. So we don't want to be going any further than we need to. And this guy just got off a boat in Tahiti, Bora Bora, for 9 days. I mean, yeah, if I ever get to that age, man, and you call me and I'm in Bora Bora, I have made it. Like it's it. I have made it. You might as well just call it a day, because I'm not coming back.
Living the good life. And I'll tell you what, so I've talked a lot about some of my favorite cars in frontage and top fuel and stuff like that. But 2017, the California Hot Rod reunion, Jim Murphy was in a great battle for the Top Fuel Championship with Mindy Fry, and it came right down to the wire, last day of the season. They were separated by mere points, and Jim Murphy came up with a clutch semifinal pass, won the round, And I tell you, it was side-by-side race. And I mean, had a bunch of smoke come out at the end and cross the finish line, and he clinched the championship. And I remember seeing that, and I was like, man, that was badass. You talk about one run for the championship line. It was great to see. And had a little trouble at the top end. I think he kind of hit the wall or something like that. It was kind of weird, but just a real clutch performance from Jim Murphy that day. And so from then on, I've just always respected him and stuff like that. And like I said, Jim Murphy is a legend, not just in top fuel racing, but in drag racing. What I'm really excited to talk to him about today is holy smokes, because I'm a big 90s Nitro Funny Car guy, and he raced Nitro Funny Cars in, like, you know, the late 80s, mid to late 80s, early 90s. So I'm really excited to talk to him about the holy smokes days and stuff like that with Hudson and everything like that. So yeah, we got a great show for you guys all. If you guys haven't already, make sure to like this episode, like it on Facebook, like it on YouTube, share it, let everybody know. This is Kings of the Sport, episode 6, and we're talking everything from Top Fuel, Funny Car, and everything like that. So Michael, ready for me to pull out the fax machine?
Yeah, pull it out, man, because I got a fax coming in. Oh, here we go. The fax machine's warming her on up. Hold on, let me reach down there and grab it. Oh, here we go. Fresh off the press, man. Had a little conversation with Kyle over there with the Nanook team. I'm feeling like this young man's going to be at the March meet with his new car. They're looking good. He said he has a few little deals that he's kind of waiting on, but all in all, that if he gets it all there, that he could be there. So I mean, that's a good chance of putting us at about 19 cars. I know that Sean Van Horn went out this past weekend with his new car and shook it down, trying to get some license run stuff done. I mean, car looked good, sounded good. They were there all weekend long, so it looks like his new ride is going to be at the March meet. I know there's a few things kind of up in the air about on the driving side of it, but we'll kind of play that out and see what happens here in a few weeks. But man, I mean, exciting times for the Kings of the Sport. There's a lot of good cars that are going to be there, and a whole bunch of new ones. I'm not even the new guy anymore. That's what's cool. I love it. I don't. Nobody wants to be the new guy.
And the more cars, the better. Like you said, we're at a solid 19 now, and like I said, we'll play it by ear of whether these guys will be actually behind the wheel driving the cars, but the cars will still be there in competition.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Kyle seemed pretty good with it. I know he's working diligently on trying to get that car there. So, and hats off to Sean Van Horn and his team for getting that car out there. I know how tough it is to get, the first go and shaking your car down and the nerves of everything. And, it's just, I mean, like I always said, my third run in my car, I'm running Adam Sorokin in St. Louis, man. You can't get any more nervy than that.
And also something cool too, Michael, this will be dropping at Bakersfield, right? It's a list of all the March meet winners in history, correct?
Yes. So, man, been a great project going on. Justin Calkins I think I talked about it on that last episode a little bit, but this is going to be kind of the final deal. This is a poster that we're going to have for sale that has all the Famoso March meet winners from 1959 to 2022 on it. We're going to, we'll have about 300 of them made. We're going to sell them probably out of the back of, either my trailer or Bobby's trailer, or, we'll have something set up. Come and buy one. I think we're going to end up selling them for about $25 a piece. All the money that's made is going to go towards our association and, the group of guys for our year-end awards and banquet, and kind of hangout deal. We're going to start a little stuff with that. So, but man, the poster is just killer to see the cars and the guys over the years for 65 years of the March meet being around and who's there. And so it starts off in 59 with, I think, Chrisman, the very first winner.
Yeah, Chrisman.
And then it's really cool to see kind of what happens in the 80s. Saying I don't know, or actually probably even 72ish, 71, 72. We change over to the rear engine cars, and then I think that goes all the way to 88 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 88, right? And I mean, the cars are cool, man. It was cool. And getting some of the guys that have won, back in, say late 70s and through the 80s, messaging them will go, hey, man, you got a picture of your car winning the March meet? And these guys go, just sending pictures, man. But like Butch Blair, he's just like, boo, 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 boo. It was really cool, even just having discussions with them.
Hmm.
But man, I can't thank Justin Calkins enough
Yeah.
for helping me out with that, man. That guy, I don't know what he does for a living, but I feel like if he's working 12 hours, 11 and a half hours of it's jacking with nostalgia top fuel stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Big shout out to Justin Calkins. I mean, just what a great dude. I mean, he sends me a bunch of like cool little tidbits on nostalgia top fuel and stuff like that all the time. Really like knows the history of front engine top fuel. So I want to give a big shout out to him and everything like that. He does a lot of great stuff for the class. And actually, he's building a front engine car of his own, not top fuel, but a front engine dragster of his own. So watch out for Justin next year. He'll be out on the racetrack getting it done.
Yeah, I think it's he sent me a picture like he's got like a billet 6-cylinder or 4-cylinder motor, man, that's going to go in this thing. I mean, it's plumb crazy, but his car is an ex top fuel car.
Yes.
From right? Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
so yeah, man, he's got him a little niche. He's gonna make something happen, man. I'm excited for him. Whatever we can do to help him out, we need to.
And so remember, Michael, a couple weeks ago, I talked about, the 50th anniversary nationals and everything like that. And, kind of like, a history of the sport. And then kind of like, last 2 weeks ago, I went back and talked about Mindy Fry, how she went 549 and stuff like that. Well, this week we got a kind of a new, kind of throwback segment. And this one is pretty special because it's going to talk about Adam Sorokin and his time winning his first March meet in 2010. So this is our throwback segment of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, and enjoy. And be right back. This is Adam Sorokin's March meet win in 2010. And then you go back to the Hemi in 2010, and like I said, that's when you have like an amazing season. So you win the March meet. You're like I said, your first career win ever in a Nostalgia Top Field car. Just real quick, when you won that race, and I know people, would bring up your dad and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure you've heard it 100 times, but for you, was that really kind of like a personal goal to win that race, like for your dad?
Oh,
Was
yeah.
that like something you wanted to do?
Yeah. I knew the significance of the March meet when I was a little kid, so like when I was, God, 5, 6 years old, I knew the March meet is what made my dad's career.
Mhm.
And I knew the importance of it. And, at first, I mean, you're just happy that you're participating in the same race that your dad got to be in and win, right? So I was just happy being there.
Mhm.
But then we have a car that is competitive, and that weekend was weird. It was cold, and we didn't qualify well. I think we qualified 8th or something like that in that race, and like we kept blowing the tire off at the track because it was really cold. And I think I had to pedal it like 4 or 5 times to get it down the track, just to qualify the car. And we ended up going rounds, and you go the first round, and that's always the most important, right? Because you don't get to win the race unless you win first round anyway, and you want to race on Sunday. And anyway, we do that, and then we go another round, and then I'm like, wow, this car is actually running pretty good, and then you start thinking like, shit, I'd like to win this race, like this would be huge, and so we raced, and we raced Sunday, and I think we got to the semifinal, and then they had to call the race because it was too cold. And so we had to finish the race on Monday, and it'd been cold and dark and cloudy. And we ended up going to the final round and against Howard Haight. And I have lane choice, and I picked the left lane because my dad won the 66 March meet from the left lane. So I picked the left lane. And I'm sitting in there, and I can remember this like it was yesterday, but I was sitting inside the car, and I'm all belted in, and I got the helmet restraint tight cinched down, and I'm barely could breathe, and I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking, like, you could win the March meet here, and then your mind starts thinking, right? You're in victory circle, you're thinking about all these things, and then you got to stop yourself and mentally slap yourself in the face and go, dummy, you got to do everything it takes to win the race. You can't celebrate before you just do what's right in front of you. and, you know, do the burnout properly, you know, stage the car properly, leave on time, keep the car in the middle, you know, all the things that you got to do. And right before we fire the motors, there's a break in the clouds and the sun comes down on the track. And I've never felt my dad's presence more than at that moment. And I'm like, this is incredible, right? Like, I mean, it was really like this experience, right? You know, and okay, you know, so my motor fires, you know, trying to do everything, you know, proper procedure and everything. And we end up winning it. And I mean, at that point, you know, I mean, like, it was the dream, you know, I mean, that was the dream for me. And I mean, winning the Indy 500, Monaco, Super Bowl, you know, whatever you want to call it, that's what that March meet win was for me. And it was that big to me, and amazing. And, you know, still gives me chills to think about it, you know, because I mean, it was like this whole life, your whole life, you're aware of the significance of this race, and you just won it. And the history behind it, and the names that are associated with people who have won that race. You know, I mean, it's veritable, you know, there's some legends there that like you don't even feel worthy of being on the same list of, you know, and they won that race, you know, Garlitz, you know, James Warren, you know, my father, you know, all of these things. And to win the same race in the same category from the same lane as my dad was the dream. I mean, like, it was amazing.
So we know how your dad celebrated when he won his March meet. I want to know, you know, what was the celebration like for you when you won your March meet?
Well, I didn't make any children, but I think I was, God, man, you know, that was just such a surreal time. You know, my wife was there, like, you know, we just hugged. She knew, you know, shit, I think I cried, you know, at the top end you know, we came out, and like, it was hard for me to just kind of comprehend what just happened. And then they come up, you know, and the champion speed shop team had never won the March meet, you know, and then it was my first win in Top Fuel, my first March meet. And like, my wife came over and we got a picture of us just hugging that somebody took that's just an amazing picture. And, you know, you could see my eyes are wet, and, you know, I mean, it just meant so much, you know. That's but awesome. I think for the next probably, God, for the next few months, I was just like, shit, you won the March meet, you know. And I have very few of trophies, you know, where you can see them, but like that 2010 March meet win is in my living room. You know, all the other ones, you know, I think only my March meet trophies are actually out, you know, out in the living room, and then the rest of them are in my office room, you know. But that's how important that race was to me. And I think the way I celebrated it was just kind of thinking about it and just happy. You know, just such a sense of like, you accomplished something that was just a dream. You know, it's probably like some performer that gets to play Madison Square Garden or something, you know, it's a big deal for them. You know, everybody has that thing that you want to achieve. That's the dream. And, you know, you don't even want to think about it out loud because you know, it's too much. You know, but to win it was pretty bitchin'. Yeah.
If that doesn't tell you how big the March meet is, I don't know what does, man. How about that? What a heartfelt, you know, type of story from Adam Sorokin when he won his first March meet in 2010. How about that?
Man, you know, I talk with Adam pretty regular, and you know, he's another one of those guys that, you know, gives outstanding advice, and we've talked a little bit about our dads, you know, and kind of where they've been in our life with the whole drag racing deal. But man, the guy's story and what goes on. I mean, it's just legendary, man. And I can't even imagine. But I can tell you this: if I won a March meet, the trophy would be on the hood of a '68 convertible Cadillac with some Longhorns on it, and that's what I would drive around town in. So just if you see that happen, that's what's going to happen right there. But yeah, man, Adam's a really, I mean, he's a great dude, man. That's a great story. I'm glad you played that on the show because people need to know, like just how important this is to us guys, that are racing in this.
And so, and the reason why I asked him how he celebrated when he won his first March meet, because Adam was conceived, after his dad won his first March meet, I believe 66. Like,
yeah, man, it's a crazy deal, and we had a really good discussion about that because if you'll see on the poster that one of the big background parts at the very top is his dad. That car, that he was driving, and then there's a 66 picture in there, but it's If we do something about his dad or use that, man, I call him, man. I go, hey, man, is it all right if we do this? Because that's his family, and you got to do right by that. And Just a great dude, man. I mean, it gives me chills thinking about it. I mean, I can't even imagine being sitting in that lane and all that happens, and just great.
All right, Michael, you ready to bring on our first guest?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Totally ready.
Let's do it, ladies and gentlemen. Kamaka Pocock is next.
If you own a beautiful modern muscle car like this 1320 Challenger, I'm sure you don't want it stolen. Because the Challenger and many other modern vehicles have an easily accessible neutral release strap. That was your coin holder in your central console, and beneath that there's this red cord that someone can pop, put it into neutral, and potentially easily steal your car. But at Destroyer1320.com, they have the TDS, Theft Deterrent System, which is a cover over that strap using factory mounting points so that you don't get popped by a thief. So make sure to go to Destroyer1320.com using promo code MMR for 15% off and get your Theft Deterrent System TDS and steal the thieves' hope.
Ladies and gentlemen, driver of the California Hustler Nitro Funny Car, Mr. Kamaka Pocock. Kamaka, welcome to the show, man. How's it going?
What's up? Good. Thanks for having me. How are you guys?
Man, great, man.
Right on.
We've been talking about doing this interview for quite a while now. So I'm so excited to actually have you on because, I mean, like, one, you're a cool dude. You're not just a drag racer. You're a hot rodder. You look like a hot rodder. And we're, like I said, we're about the same age, and everything about you is just so cool. So I'm actually have you on the show and talk about your career, man.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
So where you at? You at the shop?
At the shop right now, yeah. The crew's here. We're thrashing on the car.
Okay, that's what's up.
15 days and counting.
There you see it down at the end of the screen right there. 15 days to the March meet. And so it's been a pretty long off season. But you were actually out at Bakersfield recently, making some runs, not the funny car, but it kind of like a Corvette Top Sportsman looking car.
Yeah. Clients of ours, some good buddies, they bought a car and just asked us to kind of run through it, make sure everything's, kosher and good, safe for the kid they're putting in it. So, we just we ran through the car, made sure everything was good. I made a couple, test squirts on it Friday, and then, we put the kid in it Saturday, and he took over the reins. So just kind of helping out, getting the new generation 18-year-old driving a 7-second door slammer. So it's like, get better than getting the new generation out there. And this is their first drag car. So just trying to, keep the sport going, help out where we can.
And so, you drive the California Hustler. Michael was telling me, and correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, but you kind of got like the idea of naming yours the West Texas Hustler from cars like the California Hustler, correct?
Oh yeah, man. So there's been a couple of cars out there that's had that last name, or that name Hustler on there. one day I don't even remember like what ended up happening, man. I was just sitting there doing something, kind of reading through some stuff, and I think I read that California Hustler. Maybe I was reading through or watching it. Then I was like, man, West Texas Hustler, West Texas. I was like, we're gonna roll with West Texas Hustler on this. I was always out there hustling up something. So, and I want to say, not this past Hot Rod reunion, but the past, like 2021 Hot Rod reunion. I was out there, and I think I had my shirt on. I didn't have the car done yet, and I was out there renting on Murray's car, and the crew was out there. The California Hustler crew was out there, and I walked up, and I was like, "What's up, fellas?" And I turned around, and I was like, like that West Texas deal, we're gonna have to meet up one day on the track and see who's got it.
It's got a good ring to it, West Texas Hustler.
And for you, Kamaka, I mean, you and your team, though, it seems like 2023 is kind of like a rebranding for you guys. I mean, a new paint scheme, new body, and kind of fill us in on why the new direction of the team this year.
Yeah, we've got some new sponsors coming on board. Lemon's Headers, they're a big part of this season. So yeah, there you go with the rendering. So just kind of like you said, rebranding. Kind of everybody's driven the old California Hustler. So it's cool to and not to take away from the yellow car, the old scheme. That's a young blood design. Like by all means, that's everything that's nostalgia about Funny Car, right? The paint scheme, all that good stuff. But it's kind of cool to just kind of have obviously Don Nelson, one of the best owners you could ever drive for, on board to kind of make the change, and kind of rebrand, like you said, and kind of make it our own in a way. Kind of this is what their third season going into it so far, and it's cool to just rebrand a little bit, just step outside of the box and just kind of make it your own. And we're hot rodders, so can't leave anything alone. You're always looking for something to do or how to make something better, look cooler, so it's really cool to have the opportunity to with Don and the crew and everybody that's on board, and with Lemon's Headers now to rebrand and kind of step outside of the box a little bit.
I'll tell you what, it's a beautiful looking paint scheme. I love it. Like you said, Lemon's Header stepping up on board, but I'm gonna miss the old paint scheme though. Like that Firebird. I'm gonna miss the Firebird body too. I like it.
I know.
Oh, there you
go. She's still here. Everything will still work just in case we need her.
So I'm guessing if you backfire the supercharger, blow the burst panel off, we'll have the other body back on it.
Exactly. We can send the boys to the shop. We'll load the old body up and slap her on.
I love the new body though. I love it. But I'm just going back to 2022, and let's put a period on 2022. So for people who don't know, Kamaka Pocock, like I said, major debut in 2021 behind the wheel of Don Nelson's California Hustler Nitro Funny Car, had a great rookie season, won Rookie of the Year in 2021, and finished second in the points to Bobby Cottrell. A great rookie season for you. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kamaka. 2022 kind of seemed like you guys went to less races. Seemed like you guys, took a step back. Did a lot of testing though. Was that kind of like a deal where you guys say, hey, let's take a step back and let's kind of, put ourselves in a position for a better position in 2023?
Yeah, exactly. It was, towards the end of 2022, we're still struggling. Still, it was a great year the end of 2021. Great year, like you said, finished, second in the points and all that good stuff and Rookie of the Year, but, towards the end, we're still trying to find ourselves, get dialed in and whatnot. And so the start of 2022, we came out and still having some issues as far as just getting where we needed to be. So I think, the crew, Don and myself, we all kind of, I was having a baby. So that kind of played part into it. But, just kind of take a step back, kind of regroup. Let's get our feet back under us. I mean, you boys know that you go out there not having your shit together. You're just going to spend a bunch of money, blow some stuff up, and it wasn't worth it, so kind of took a step back, got our feet under us, and now we got Mark Lee on board as crew chief, and I think we're going in the right direction. So, getting parts was an issue, so being limited on parts and all that, never know what's happening in this crazy world of ours. So it was a good year to step back, and like I said, just kind of take a deep breath, regroup, figure out what our direction is, and had my beautiful baby girl. So it was a good year to just kind of focus on that. So it worked out well, and we're looking to come out strong this year. We'll see how it goes.
I mean, but all in all, life is good for Kamaka Pocock because, like you said, I mean, a rebranding of the team, new body, new paint scheme, new sponsors. You got, like you say, you feel like you guys are going a new direction. Just had a brand new baby girl. Congratulations!
Thank
And
you.
recently got married not long ago too. So I mean, life is good for Kamaka Pocock.
Life is good. I mean, it takes a village. I can't do. There's no I in team, and it's all the boys that are here at the shop, working on the Hustler, here at the Hot Rod shop. Keeping the doors rocking there, that just make everything go around. And then Don Nelson, he's top notch, and his connections, his people, just making everything so easy, I guess, if you will, if there is such a thing in nitro racing. As far as just everything going, we're still green to it. We're still, like I said, this is my third season racing this car, and it's a new thing every single lap. So having the connections and everybody around so supportive and everything, it really makes life easy. And on the outside it's like, oh, life looks good, but we're busting ass and making sure everything gets
Oh yeah, for sure.
but super blessed. I can't see, super blessed.
So, and we know within the Nitro Funny Car class, Bobby Cottrell has dominated the last 5 years, 5 consecutive championships in a row. But for you guys, what is like your team's goals going into 2023? Is it trying to make a run for that championship, or just trying to kind of better your performance in 2021, where you guys finished second in the points?
Yeah, I mean, think being a competitor, right? You always aiming for that championship. You hate to, you're spending, well, Don's spending all this money. We got all this time and effort into this. You hate to just go out and, well, at least we qualified. We want to go out there. We want to rotate the earth. It's going to be a tough season. Everybody's stepping their shit up. Obviously, we're chasing Bobby, but last year I think it showed that everybody else is right on his tail. I mean, you got Eddie Knox and Billy. I mean, March meets winners. Then you got Jeff Moniz throwing down low ETs at Vegas. The field is so tight now. It's just really hard to, it's really hard to compete. But you got to go out there and you got to have the motors, the parts ready to just throw it in the trash can when time comes. It's just crazy how much time and effort goes into this stuff for that 5-second run. But we're aiming for that championship, brother.
I love it, man. Standing right here on Kings.
Hungry.
There you go, hungry. and you mentioned it, like Nitro Funny Car is going to be fun this year. You talk about Bobby Cottrell, 5 championships in a row. He's going for 6. You got Billy Morris, who just won the California Hot Rod Reunion, went that 558 in the final round. You got Drew Austin. You got yourself. Like you said, you got Jeff Moniz. You got Dan Horan. I mean, so many other great James Day. I mean, so many other great drivers. And I'll tell you what, man. Bill Wyndham's thing with the Nitro Funny Car deal in the big show, that's gonna be fun as well. But I tell you what, Nitro Funny Car, all in all, is gonna be amazing this year, and I cannot wait to see how it all plays out. But I want to go back though to the beginning, because I want to talk about your hot rodding days and everything like that. But let's start from the beginning. You're originally from Hawaii, correct?
Yeah, born and raised in Maui, Hawaii. Did everything there, right? Drag strips, the whole 9. Dad was into it. Never drag race till, only probably six years ago until I actually got in a car. But just always been around it. My dad's a hot rodder, through and through. So, cruising the islands and doing all that good stuff. And just, been around it my whole life. Been a gearhead, motorhead. I'm never was good on 2 wheels, so four wheels it is for me. But, just growing up in an island, you stuck to what you know. So, first I moved up here. I moved to Sacramento. I went to Wildtech up there, and the rep actually took me and my family to the Governor's Cup. So first time seeing 6-second door slammers, and you just open your eyes to like a whole new ball game where it's just unbelievable of the talent and the hot rods itself. The beautiful cars that are running these ETs, and that's kind of what steered me in the direction to do what I'm doing as far as hot rods and drag racing and all that good stuff. And then moved to Bakersfield, have no idea what a hot rod reunion is or March meets or what Famoso Raceway is. Like, okay, and go out there for the first reunion. And it's like, oh my gosh, call my dad. And I was like, you got to get up here. This is nuts. It's just like a whole different ball game. And it kind of just snowballed. Next thing you know, we're buying a car and running B gas and A gas, and now we're here.
It's funny because I've talked with Kyle Huff a lot, and he was saying that when his dad moved to Hawaii first for college, obviously his family comes from drag racing, And he's like, man, I'm here in Hawaii. I don't think there's any drag racing out here, but drag racing is worldwide. And he was telling me that drag racing is pretty big in Hawaii as well. Can you kind of attest to that?
Yeah, no, for sure it is. I mean, it's, there's a lot of local talent that has come out of, obviously Roland Leong, Danny Ongais. You have these legends that are, the pinnacle of drag racing, and then it's a huge deal back home. It's just so hard for it to get out, right? You're so limited where, we have, I think, 3 tracks in the state, one on Maui, where I'm from, Maui Raceway Park. That's where I grew up. My dad's best friend was a president in there at one time. And, it's just a different, it's just crazy. It's a different, like Kauai's track is, you're at the end of the track and it's the beach. Like the sand track is the beach. When they say beach, and you are literally, 100 foot from the waves. It's so cool. It's just different. But just a different. I don't know what it is about. Probably just so expensive to do life there in Hawaii, to where having cars and stuff like this able to do it makes it a little harder for sure for people to put the money into cars to run in the 6s, or even, 6s is a big number back home. If people are running 6s, it's like, wow, they've never seen it before. And then you're dealing with weather. You always got rain or something where it's like you got the top end. We went to a race on the Big Island, and hey, we got to pause for a little bit because the top end's raining. It's like, what? we're gonna change it to 8th mile because the top end's a little wet. And it's like, okay, so it's just a whole different lifestyle, I guess. But everybody loves it. I mean, you see all the Hawaiians that come up for reunion, for March meet in Vegas. They call that the 9th island. So every race in Vegas has a ton of Hawaiians that go up there. So it's cool. And then you got the Okuharas who are crewing up in the top, the big leagues, and it's cool. I think it's growing more and more people are getting into it, so it's cool.
They just announced that Okuhara is going to be, and we kind of saw this coming, but Okuhara is going to be tuning for Bob Tasca here in 2023. Yep. So, but hey, Michael, he mentioned Roland Leong, kind of cool because, Roland Leong has a connection with our next guest, Jim Murphy, as well.
Absolutely, man. Like, I'll even give you another one. My car is painted like the Hawaiian car. If you go and look at it, the spider web that's on there, the cobweb, it's all after that car and how it was done. So the recreation that Corey Conyers did, whenever he was talking to me about painting my car, he was like, man, I want to do this deal. So yeah, man. Roland Leong, it's killer to think about these guys and everybody that's been involved in this. Hey, I do got one question for you though, since you brought this up, because I love talking about this. You said you went to Wyotech, right?
Yes, sir.
So as a young man that's coming out of high school or whatever, that would want to get into some kind of automotive, mechanic and deal. I mean, would you recommend Wyotech as a way to go?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I know that was 10 years ago. So for me, I don't know what's changed, but I didn't knew nothing going into it, right? I didn't know how to weld. I didn't know how to do anything. So as far as the instructors being there that kind of coached me up, got me my first job here in Bakersfield at a hot rod shop. And then it's totally worth it. It depends what avenue you're trying to go. I know there's specialty schools now where, hey, I want to be a welder. There's welder school where when I went to Wyotech, you had a broad range of projects or avenues to take up. So you could do automotive with body shop, you could do chassis welding, sheet metal stuff. So I would highly recommend it. If it's a path that you're looking for, I think tech school is the way to go. I mean, being able to build stuff with your hands, make metal stick, I think that goes a long way, especially in today's day and age where everything is so AI oriented and, just computer generated. Being able to kind of go primitive on it and build something and make two things out of essentially nothing, I think it's going to go a long way in life.
Absolutely. And it's great to hear. How old are you? I didn't catch how old you were.
30.
Oh, man. Yeah. So 30 is a great time, man. 30 is a great time to be, man. That's, a lot of, that I had my first kid, or my only kid at 30, man. And I could, it changed my life and my whole view of how stuff goes. But, it's amazing whenever you hit that number, what you start deciding is important in life, right? For sure, man. Yeah. But I guess another question I have, going into this March meet, this is going to be my first March meet to race in.
Okay.
So,
cool.
what advice would you have for me going into this race to say, hey man, coming into this deal, this is what you're going to be feeling or seeing, or you might want to look at?
Get out of your pit early because pit lane's a little thick, but no, it's just embrace it, man. It's the history behind the March meet, 65 years, I believe it is this year. Just embrace it, take it in. You got people from all over the world that are there. It's just such a cool experience and an iconic race just to be in and compete in, and everybody, especially, being the show, right? The fuel alter, the nitro categories, all eyes on you, so it's like big smoky burnouts. Like, I don't know. I love putting on a show, if I get the okay from the crew chief, I'm legging that rig, I'm taking yes, but it's, no, it's just cool, man. The atmosphere. This is home track. For us, we're 30 minutes from home, so everybody's there. We know, so it's that much cooler. Just to be in front of the home crowd. But I don't know, March meets. There's just something about it. Hot Rod Reunion, the same thing, but March meets is, the big one. I feel like everybody's been there. Everybody's done it. 65 years. You have all the legends that have gone there and raced down Famoso, and just embrace it. I don't know, just take it all in, breathe the air, the stink Bakersfield air, and just love it, man.
Well, I'm excited, man. I don't know if you've watched any of these shows or whatever, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm like a huge fan of this deal. I'm ready to leave tomorrow. I'm ready to make this deal happen, man. So, and hopefully, I'll get there. I'll get to meet you. Let's meet up and talk, man. And if we want to put a couple of hustler cars out on the track, I'll run you for 100. It's no problem. Let's go, baby.
Let's go. I'm down. That'll be fun, man. That would be a cool shot too. Battle it out.
Hey, we got to do it in testing, right? Thursday afternoon in testing. California Hustler versus the West Texas Hustler. Let's get it done.
Right. So just watch out.
So going back to your first March meet, Kamaka, was really cool. That was the first ever race. The March meet in 2021, which was in May, actually, was the first race I ever did media. Was like doing interviews and talking to drivers and stuff like that. And I remember round one, Saturday night, you took on Ryan Kono in the hat car. That's a great tribute car to Shirley Muldowney, and you took him out first round. That was a really cool deal. Header flames under the lights. It was really cool.
Yeah, no, that was a huge win for us. First win. My first competition was the beginning of May, right? Was Boise that year because of the whole COVID March meet deal. But yeah, it was cool. Just to race Ryan Kono, who's been doing it forever. You see that car out there for years, right? The Kono and all that good stuff. And it was to line up next to him and to him having Hawaii ties as well was really cool. We chopped it up in the staging lanes for a while, obviously waiting to go. And yeah, to see the reactions of everybody. I didn't know who won because it was so close. He kind of put it on me on the top end, and we had blown some stuff up. We had some pan pressure that killed the injector, so it's like foot's down, and there goes the power, and you're just like, what the? He keep hitting the gas pedal, and you ain't got nothing, and he comes up, and it was a good race, and it was really really cool to take it under the lights. Like I said, home field, like it was cool.
Mm-hmm. And you're not just the only Pocock out there racing. You have other family members out there that's racing as well. And I believe I saw on your social media, your dad's going to be behind the wheel this year as well, driving.
Yeah. So he's got a 55 Chevy. He runs B gas, so 860s. He's had that car for a few years now, and we've run it. He's done pretty well. He's getting back in it, so knocking the rust off for sure. But he's done very well. And the car runs good, so we're getting it back together. Kind of everything gets pushed to the side. This nitro stuff takes so much work and effort that, I'm kind of making it a point to get his car together this year so he can come up and have some fun. He's in Hawaii. He's a whatever contractor guy back there. So he's putting up the first Sonic burger.
Okay.
Yeah. So he hates it. He's ready to come up here and just live full time. My mom lives with us up here and watches the baby girl. And, so I know it's killing him to be back home and working and not up here, tweaking out with us on motors and getting cars together. Like he absolutely loves it. So I'm excited to get him up here and, just get him back behind the wheel, having some fun.
Okay. let's have a little fun. Let's have a little fun because this is called the Kings of the Sport podcast. But I love it all. I love all Nitro. Funny car, top field, don't matter. I love all Nitro. Field altered, Big Show, Heritage Series. I love it all. We got a comment here from Sean Van Horn.
Oh, great.
He says, I got the Queens of the Sport. So you got any comeback for that at all?
Not live. It won't.
Not
It
live.
won't. Yeah. Man, stop drinking Haterade, bro. He's helped me, or helped us, but helped me, you know, from the moment I got in the seat. You know, Sean's been there with us, and any questions I've had for him, you know, he's answered. He's kind of pointed us in the direction of Mark Lee for crew chief. And, you know, Sean's been there kind of since my beginning of Nitro. And thanks for everything, Sean, especially the shit talking, bro.
And Michael can tell you, ever since we've started this show, like there's been a lot of like trash talk, a lot of back and forth, a lot of guys calling other guys out. Like it's really cool to see. It's really fun to see.
Jeez, yeah, especially Sean. Line him up, bro. Let's go.
Man, it's crazy. I love it. It kind of goes like that deal. All press is good press. It doesn't make as long as somebody's talking about it. And you got to keep that stuff going, man. You got to keep people talking smack and who's what and where and the whole 9 yards. I mean, it seems like this year. I haven't heard exactly how many funny cars are going to be there, but I'm sure I figured 25 at least, right?
That's what I heard. It was like 23, 24, so it should be pretty good.
So, I mean, this is probably going to be one of the largest March meets that we've seen in, like we kept talking about in probably almost a decade, but with both classes and, with the fuel altereds being there. It should be just one hell of a show.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I know Top Fuel, you guys got like 20 or something.
We might have 19, but we got a solid 18, man. That's the first time in since 2014.
Cool. Yeah, I was giving Sean some shit this weekend because he was out testing. I was like, well, I sure hope that they run the funny cars first, or else we'd be in the lane until midnight.
It's such a huge topic about who's running first, who's running last, who's running under the lights, who's not. I mean, I thought that barrel racers were bad. Shit, you get into Top Fuel and barrel racers ain't got nothing on us, man. There's no doubt about it.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I'm excited. It should be a big one in everybody out. I think kind of the BS of the world is everybody's over it. So it's like, let's get back to work. Or get back to racing, traveling. I think we'll see a lot of people from out of state this year coming abroad and out of country, and just I think it's going to be really good for March Meet and one, but just for the sport in general.
Right, absolutely.
Hashtag pack the March Meet. It's good on social media. Hashtag pack the March Meet.
Pack it up.
So I want to ask you now, Kamaka. Bill Windham, I mentioned this earlier. The Legends Nitro Funny Cars deal obviously made their debut in Las Vegas. Just want to get your whole, what you thought about the whole deal, and you think it's the right direction for the funny car class.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. To get the exposure. We missed Vegas just because of the carnage that we had at Reunion. We didn't have enough to get there, and we had fire issues, blah, 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 blah. But I was really bummed that we didn't make it. Everybody, it was well received. The NHRE people, just everybody in general just absolutely loved it. And, Billy, one of our guys, he went with the Madness crew, and they were able to, see firsthand, and he said that it was awesome. So I'm really excited, and Bill's been putting a lot of work into it, and I know what the partners he's got and trying to make all this happen, and, appreciate them doing that. As far as, I think it's for me, just exposure, right, is what I look at, getting the people, the general public who, oh, wow, John Force or, Bob Tasca and Robert Hyde and all these guys, they don't know us little guys, so to be there in the mix of the things and just to showcase, what we can do, I'm excited for, and it's just kind of, it helps the sport, I guess, in a way, or funny cars in one way, get that nostalgia out there, nationally televised, and, helps with getting exposure to sponsorships and all that stuff. So I'm excited for it.
And, I mentioned earlier of all the names, all the big players in the class. Like I said, I mentioned Bobby Cottrell, I mentioned you, I mentioned James Day, I mentioned Billy Morris. But one guy I forgot to mention, though, who's supposed to be coming back out this year, the War Eagle, Dale Pody. It's
Dale.
supposed to be Dale Pody's supposed to be coming back out this year. How you feel about the old War Eagle, Miller High Life Warrior coming back out?
It'll be cool. I'm really excited. You know, Dale worked with us a few races last year, and it's, you know, to meet a legend like that and just, you know, to have him right there working on the same car and giving you driving tips and what am I doing wrong and what, you know, I mean, you can't ask for anything better. You know, one of the best wheel guys, you know, wheelmen behind the wheel of one of these. It was totally super cool to see that. And yeah, I mean, it's be cool to see him out there. The car looks beautiful. You know, so to say that you lined up next to Dale Pody will be damn cool.
Adam Sorokin says, "Good job, Kamaka Pocock." And then Sean Van Horst says, "I'm an easy target right now." So Sean said he's an easy target.
He's always. Yeah, so we'll see.
Hey, is Pendragon going to be there? Is he bringing out the Charger car, the California Charger car?
No, I hope. I've seen some little teasers, you know, of like the car, his helmet posted. So it'd be cool.
Yeah.
He said it that he was for sure coming to the March meet this year, but I haven't heard anything, so I don't know.
Because yeah, we're doing this race, March meets, and then at the end of March we do Pomona. That's one of our Legends series. So that'd be cool. I mean, it makes sense for him. Bring it out here and do both. Like, let's go. That's a beautiful car.
All right. So before I let you go, Kamaka, because drag racing fans are also hot rodders. And like I said, you're not just a drag racer, you're a hot rodder as well. Born Vintage Hot Rods. Just kind of give us the backstory on that and how that all came together. And then also, I want you to give us the backstory on this beautiful, beautiful C10 right here. You got to tell us the backstory of this.
All right, yeah. So Born Vintage, basically, me and my buddy Brock had started it. I don't know now, maybe 4 years ago. We've been together since our first moves to Bakersfield. He's a local boy here, so we've always worked together and done everything. And then we started Born Vintage, and yeah, just a bunch of buddies. All of our buddies work for us. We've got about 12 guys now. We do paint and body in house, all our fabrication, turnkey builds. Just a bunch of buddies building hot rods, having fun. And that particular truck, a 67 C10 for a really good friend of ours, Mike Dowster, we built and just tried to kind of do what nobody was doing yet. You know, spend the money on a build where, you know, you just coming through and doing all the little things that you've ever wanted to do to a 67 C10. So that's kind of what that build snowballed into, where you just kind of did a bunch of stuff to it. We billet machined the grill, did a bunch of subtle, really, really subtle body mods, handmade the bed. There's just kind of one of those where we know we needed to put it out there to show people what we can do for one, you know, because we're still very new in this game of hot rod industry. And yeah, just kind of put it out there to people and let them know, hey, we're here and we're not fucking around.
and you've won quite a bit of awards and everything like that. What's some of your builds and stuff like that, correct?
Yeah, we're still getting there, you know, still kind of making our way. The truck did very well for us. The truck won. We went to top 3 trucks at SEMA, Battle of the Builders with that. We've won a bunch of local stuff. We haven't taken it really out of state, but every show we go to, it does very well for us, and it helps, you know, just like racing, right? The exposure gets you promotion, gets your name out there, what people are doing, how you're doing it, your quality of work. So, it comes down to just pushing the product, and that's kind of what we're doing with these hot rods.
Do you remember what I told you at last year's March meet when I interviewed you in the pits?
No, sorry.
I said that one day you got to give me a ride in your C10.
I do remember that now. Yeah, when you come to town, if you come early enough, I'll take you for a ride. All the projects up.
Nice.
There's a new body.
Oh yeah.
We're thrashing. All the boys are in there getting heads together, and we're just rocking and rolling.
Any final questions, Michael?
Man, no, I'm just, excited that you came on to the show, man. Give a little different perspective on what's coming out there, especially from a man that, that's 30 years old. That a lot of times we kind of get hung up in a certain age bracket, but, it's cool to see somebody that, your age that's this deep into it, man, because I know what it takes to get to that point, and it's going to be cool to see where you go, further into this racing deal for sure. And congratulations, man, on everything that you've had happen.
I appreciate it very much. Yeah, like I said, it takes a village, with everybody with everybody. It's been awesome to just have the opportunities that, you know, I've been given, and then with bringing everybody on board, crew in, and we're just having fun. You know, you only live once and you can't take it with you. So we're just living life to the fullest. I mean, taking every opportunity, like I said, and running with it.
Awesome.
Awesome. And like I said, man, me and Kamaka have been talking about doing this for quite a while now. So actually excited to have you on the show here today. Thank you for coming on here today. Like I said, Kamaka, not just a funny car driver, but a hot rodder and a cool guy all around. And like you said, Michael, so many great stuff happening in his life right now. Like you mentioned, I mentioned just not long ago, just got married recently. Everything with Born Ventures Hot Rod, just had a brand new baby girl. So everything's going good in the life of Kamaka Pocock, but still working hard behind the scenes though, and going for that championship this year. Going for that championship.
We're going to see what happens, but we coming. Say that much.
Well, thanks again, Kamaka, for coming on the show, and I'll see you in Bakersfield, man.
All right, guys. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the driver of the California Hustler Nitro Funny Car, Kamaka Pocock, 2021 Legends of Nitro Rookie of the Year. So that's a bad man behind the wheel of a Nitro Funny Car. I forgot to ask him, though, would he be interested in driving a top fuel car one day?
Oh, everybody's interested in driving a top fuel car. I'll tell you that right now. There's not anybody that's going to say, I don't want to drive a top fuel car. That just, if you do, then you just don't want to really drag race. I mean, that's all I can say. So, but great dude, though. I mean, excited for him. 30 years old, out there ripping it around in a fuel funny car, man. I mean, I can't think it. You know, building hot rods for a living. Oh my gosh, what, you know, he picked the right time to be in Bakersfield. You know, that's a heck of a deal right there. And then, you know, get to grow up in Hawaii. Oh, you know, that was horrible for him, I'm sure. I don't know, man. Great dude. I look forward to meeting him.
And for sure. And one thing he mentioned too, like, he's put in the work, and also like he's come up from A gas, he's come up from B gas, and we have time, you know, but you know, look at one of these badass hot rods he's driven, the Boogeyman. I forgot to ask him about that, but that's one of the cool rods cool hot rods he's driven in the past. So I believe that was B gas. So I mean, the dude has put in the work, and he has worked his way up to Nitro Funny Car, and it's shown. You know, finished second in a row in 2021, and like I said, took a little bit of a step back in 2022, but they're going, you know, full sprint in 2023, and going after Bobby Cottrell and Bucky Austin and all those big time boys in Nitro Funny Car. It'd be fun to see.
Hey, we can't forget Dan Horan, right? Can't forget Dan Horan out there, or even Ryan Horan. Hey, you never know. Ryan Horan might be driving.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And
what's up, Dan?
And those are two guys I really want to get on the show soon. Dan Horan, he's a champion in Top Fuel, won a lot of races in Nitro Funny Car, and Ryan Horan coming up as well. He actually raced Dan's, well, I guess, I mean, it's all the family car, but he actually raced the funny car out in Las Vegas for the fall race and did a pretty good job as well. So
yeah, and licensed in the top fuel car, ran a 579 or 578, whatever, 575. I don't know. He was hauling ass, whatever it was, you know, to be licensed. God Almighty. Yeah. So yeah, we'll definitely have to get them on the show for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, thank you guys all for tuning in. First guest down, Kamaka Pocock. You ready for our next guest, Michael Anderson?
Yeah, man. What a guy. I'm ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jim Murphy is next.
Power-Built Tools exemplifies innovation in the tool industry. From hand tools, power tools, and even tool storage. Check out powerbuilt.com for Power-Built Tools. And remember, use promo code MMR15 for 15% off at purchase.
Ladies and gentlemen, the legend is in the house. Jim Murphy, how's it going, man?
Going great, Darren. Thanks for having me on. Good to see you, Michael.
You too.
Man, I'll tell you what, this is awesome to have the legend Jim Murphy in the house. So there's kind of a discrepancy of March meet wins. We're gonna settle all that here today here on this show. So I'm gonna say 4, but we gotta let the audience know, Michael, that there's probably an extra one there. Correct?
Man, I think there's one hanging out there that might not everybody know about, but I've been told at least a couple of times now that it's awesome to sit here and listen to the stories that these guys have and over the few decades that they've been racing. And I can't even imagine just everything that's that's there in this head, man. Like I love talking with him at the track because he's such a huge amount of knowledge on what's going on. I'll give you a perfect example at the Hot Rod reunion at Q3. I'm lined up in the right-hand lane, and it's, my car's crooked, and I don't know, it runs off over there, blows the tires off, and he comes over and gives me advice about how to run in the right-hand lane. And me, the joker that I am about this stuff, I look at him, I go, how many times have you actually run in the right-hand lane at Formosa? And he goes, you want it in hundreds or thousands? Yeah, great dude, man. It's exciting to have him on the show.
Thanks, Michael. A little bit about that fifth win. That's was the first win in my career. I was not driving, actually. I was boat racing in the early 70s. And a dear friend was killed, and it really set me back. I quit boat racing, and there'd been a number of them. I was running blown fuel flat bottom, which at that time was a pretty spooky deal. And I quit in August or September, and Ed Wills, who was racing boats, and he got in a funny car deal. So he calls me and he says, "Oh man, Murph, you got to come up and look at this thing. We're going to be at Fremont on New Year's Day." And so I did that, and I fell in love with the goofy things, and Art Whipple was dating Ed's daughter. And so Ed McCullough was there, and I got to be friends with them, or got to know him. And he said, I got a really nice car. I'll give you a good deal. It's our last year's car. And so I bought the body and chassis the next Saturday. And that was 3 weeks to go before the Internationals. And they had a great idea. In fact, Roland, I'd met him at the same time, and said, Butch Moss drove my car the year before. And if you want to just come down and shake down some things, if you can get it done, he can drive the thing. You'd be guaranteed a qualifying money. So Ed and Art both helped me. I called Keith Black. I got an engine, told me just what to get. We took this thing, put it together, took it down to Kirby's, and Kenny Youngblood lettered it. And we made it to the Winter Nationals, and we brought it on the sprint car trailers with the tires up in front. That's all we had to tow to the Winter Nationals in. And we got there, and Butch was driving. We never qualified number 3. I went a couple rounds, so that was a start to it. And so I started to get my license, and we're going to finalize it at the March meet. So I got it all finalized there, but I couldn't drive because at that time you had to have gotten your license, get it, and then you could drive the next race. So that's when McCullough says, man, he was out helping me. Says, I'll jump in it. So he jumped in it, and we ended up winning the race. So that's where the fifth one came from.
This is what I'm talking about. Yeah. Who has a story like that?
And here's the winner circle picture right there. At the Ace McCullough, you see Jim Murphy right there. Jim, who's the lady on the left?
Don't know. It's a trophy girl that was had in those days.
Man, that's awesome. And what an awesome story right there. That's really cool. And so I got to ask you then, so you, like you said, you bought that car, that body and chassis from Whipple and McCullough. That was their U.S. Nationals winning car then, correct? Because I know Ed McCullough won the U.S. Nationals in 71.
That's correct. That did. And actually that car ran really well that year. And I met Tim Beebe on the Coke tour because after we ran pretty well, Ira Lischke called me and offered us that deal. So I'm in the construction business and built some spec homes. And so I was going to take off for the summer while they sold. And so I did that. And we got the car just ran really well. I mean, at the end of the year at the World Finals, that's the first car. The record at that time for funny cars was 640 and 228 miles an hour. And with Tim turning the wrenches, we went out and we ran a 633. So it's the first car in the 630s, and ran 232, first car over 230. That was a really good car. And like an idiot, Woody actually called me and says, Murph, I want to build you a new car. I'll give you a chassis. So I did, and I sold that chassis. I shouldn't have never done that. I mean, that thing just had magic built into it.
Who'd you sell it to?
What? And I don't know. So the next car I got was Woody's. It was a purple car, satellite body, which was a nice car. We had trouble getting down the track for the first few months, and we finally put some more pipe inside of it and stiffened up the back end and got it where it ran pretty good.
Nice.
Outstanding. So, getting back to, the kings of the sport stuff on these dragsters, because, I want to talk a little bit about it. How are you feeling about where the class is right now coming into this March meet and the purse that's been put up and all this hype that's going on?
I'm loving it. It reminds me of the good guys when we raced there. And there'd be 30 cars sometimes for a 16-car show. It looks like we're heading back that way. Plus, I think there's a real comfort with all the guys with each other. And it's just getting to be a little more fun, a lot of camaraderie in the class. It's exciting. I'm pumped about the March meet.
Have you ever seen like this type of excitement regarding a March meet? Like, I know you've been around for a long time. I mean, it seems like this year there's so much hype, so much, anticipation. Have you ever seen that behind a March meet before?
Well, it's always pretty exciting. Everyone's looking forward to it because it's the first race of the year and you've been cooped up in that. But I'd say the excitement this year is as good as I've ever seen it.
I mean,
outstanding. I mean, it's just, it's super fun to see what's going on with the class. Can't be more excited about, what's going on. You know what? I haven't actually got to run against Jim in the other lane yet. And I'm really hoping that it happens at this March meet. There's like a couple of guys I want to line up with, and make it happen. And he's one of them, but I might not recognize the car because a little birdie said that this car might be showing up with a new paint job.
It will. That's the plan, and a different looking car. We've done some things to it. They're newer in the class, and just finishing it up now. In fact, Kenny Youngberg goes up in my house today doing some final layout of things. So we've got our work cut out for us, but we'll be there for sure. And Michael, let's line up. We'll go race.
So I got to ask you. So last year, you're in the final round against Brett Williamson under the lights at Bakersfield, and you come up just a bit short. So we just talked about how it's 5 March meet wins technically, but as a driver, it's 4. Does it ever cross your mind of like, hey, I want to get that 5th as a driver and tie Big Daddy Don Garlitz? Does it ever pass your mind?
Not only crossed my mind, I live with it every day. It seems like it's been a monkey on my back. I've been trying to get off, and we've had, I think, 2 other really close races like that, because I think there was only like 3,000 between Brett and I. It was a really close race, and we both ran about the same speeds and stuff. So there's probably about a foot difference at the other end, and that kind of things happen. I'm thinking, oh, this is a year. And years just keep passing by, and I'm still a bridesmaid for that 5th one.
I'll tell you this, Darren. I was at the finish line whenever they ran that race, and it was unbelievable. I was standing up on the wall, and they come by. I think was like 261 maybe. I think 261.
We ran within a half a mile of one another.
Yeah, I mean, and dude, it was flames as high as you can see, and like it just comes by like boom. And everybody's like this. If they didn't have the deal up there to tell you who won, you wasn't guessing. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It was bad to the bone.
I can tell you this: neither one of us knew who won. That's kind of why you do this kind of thing, Michael. For moments like that, they're real special, And so it's a really neat deal. And everyone's they're just good guys at racing this Nostalgia Top Fuel.
Absolutely.
And I was actually at the starting line, with some friends, watching that. And I'll tell you what, when you guys hit the gas, you talk about the sun setting at Bakersfield, see the header flames going out and just side by side all the way down the racetrack. And I'll tell you what, the people on the starting line in the crowd went crazy. Obviously, Jim came up just a bit short, but just seeing that great side by side race was awesome. But I want to talk about one of your March meet wins back in 1999. Your owner, Jim Herbert, passed, I believe, about 10 days before that March meet. And you guys, actually end up winning it. Just talk about how difficult was that to kind of muster up, kind of like the will to go out there and race it and win it for him that year.
That was a tough one, Darren. We were really close, that team. And the guys from over Sacramento, Ron Rapatos, Dave Thornhill, the guys that came on and helped later. But I was basically, were going to surprise me because they had the car painted over the winter with a number 1 on it and stuff. And I didn't know about it. And it was Jim's idea to surprise me at the race when I first saw the car. And I got a call 9 days before the race was to start from his wife, and he passed away, had an aneurysm, the mania aorta in the shower. So he died instantly. And so we weren't going to go. We didn't think anything that we even wanted to. And good guys called called up and wanted to have him come bring the car down and make a burnout and then back it up and shut it off. And his wife said he'd die. He'd go roll over in his grave. He says, if you guys want to take it down there and run it, go for it. It was all ready to go. So we talked about it. Yeah, let's do it. So we went down there, and we were a basket case. I mean, we couldn't add 2 and 2. And we ended up qualifying number 16th, last qualifier. Kind of put our heads together and kind of gelled again, and went out the next day and ran low ET in the top speed of every round and won the race, And I got at the other end. I was just bawling, to tell you the truth. I mean, it was a very, very emotional thing. We were basically at the starting line. I'm not in the car yet, and it did a tribute to Jim and played the national anthem. And there's a big crew. All the wives were there and everything. And there's probably 15 or 20 of us, and all hugging and crying and everything. I got to climb in that car and go race, right? But that was a real special one, Darren, for sure.
And Michael, we talked about just a minute ago, we saw Adam Sorokin when he talked about when he won his first March meet in 2010 and how he saw the clouds open up and felt his dad's presence. Well, another great March meet story right there from Jim Murphy. I mean, that's just stories of the March meet, making memories.
I feel like that as we go along and get everybody on the show to kind of talk about their experiences with this race, we're going to get more and more of this. I mean, it's such a great race with all this history, man. Like, I think everybody's got this deal where it's like this, I just need to take it all in moment. Just take it all in. I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited. It's going to be a good time.
I think every single person in the Top Fuel category, both crew and drivers, owners, are all pretty excited. And you're very contagious with that, Michael, I have to say.
Well, we keep the hype going, Jim. We got to keep the hype going.
I believe that for sure. It's going to be a great weekend,
And you just took a trip to Bora Bora, Tahiti, right? So obviously that's a pretty expensive trip. I think the $10,000 to win will kind of make up for that, right?
It was worth it. It's pretty beautiful over there. I told Michael I had when we were snorkeling there, I had 7 sharks around me. And you can see in the water, it wasn't very deep, 5 or 6 feet. And it looked like you were looking into a glass of water. That's how clear the water is. And we went on what they call the Wind Star. And so it's a sailing ship. So we flew over to Tahiti, and then we boarded the ship. And then each night we sail somewhere to a new island. So we went to 6 islands, stayed in Bora Bora 2 days. I'd recommend it to anyone. It's a pretty neat experience. I think Michael should take his wife there, actually, myself.
Once he brought it up and she heard about it, it was already on the list. The next day she was looking at it on the internet. Here's where we need to go, right here. Let's go.
I'll send her some information.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So I've always wondered this too, and I know we've had a lot of discussions and I've never asked this, but where does the WW2 name for your car come from?
That's a good question. There was 2 guys, Ron Welty and Steve Wiles, and they had a fuel dragster over in Sacramento, and they were doing okay, but not really great. And so they got Jim Herbert to help them, and he basically Jim was a really, really good tuner, good crew chief, excellent, and so he helped them some, and so they talked him and Ted Taylor into going with them. So Ted drove the car and Jim tuned on it, and those guys all worked on it. And they decided to kind of wrap it up, wanted to go Top Fuel racing. So they did, and it didn't have a name, but it was Ron Welty they knew, and Steve Wiles. And Ted Taylor drove the first WW2 car, and it was Wiles and Welty and 2 other guys. That's how that came about. And so they raced for a while, and I don't know what happened. Anyway, I guess Wiles and Welty went away, and then Ted Taylor had some health problems, and he couldn't drive it. So Jim called me, and it was during that time I'd quit. And I told you one time anyway. And I was kind of done with it. I've been racing the funny car, and you get a little money, some sponsorship, it's never quite enough, and it's just a vicious circle. Was for me in that time. That was in the 90s, and so then after Jim went away, left, it was still WW2, and I remember I kind of came more around WW2, like the World War II and that, just to kind of get away from that, and I put a number 2 like ESPN2 on it and kind of change the logo just to keep the WW2 name on there. That's how it all came about. Long story for a short answer, I guess.
Well, I think it's a great story because I think there's a lot of people that are just kind of like thinking it's World War II, but it really, there's a whole deal to it.
I thought it was World War II. That's what I thought.
Hey, don't ask Jim Young why he thinks it's WW2. I'm going to tell you that right now.
He probably doesn't know either. So
Well, he didn't. He goes because Jim fought in World War II. I was like, bullshit. He was born in 1943.
he was old man in World War II. He said, "Friday Young."
No, it's good stuff.
You know,
So I know that Darren.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'd like to give a shout out to Jimmy Young because he's done an incredible job. You know, him and Bobby and yourself have really been part of the whole catalyst that's energized this Top Fuel racing again. You really deserve a lot of the credit, all three of you.
Awesome. Outstanding. I appreciate it, man. You know what? We're going to keep doing what we can do.
Yeah.
But, going back and talking about your vicious cycle and running the funny car in the 90s, I know that Darren really wants to talk to you about the Holy Smokes funny car. So
I do.
We got to talk about the Holy Smokes funny car.
Sure.
Sure.
And we got a comment right here from Jim Moody. He says, I remember the green Holy Smokes funny car at Wild Horse in Phoenix years ago. And so I just want to ask you, first, how did you get the Holy Smokes name? And then 2, just at the time, like you're talking about mid to late 80s, early 90s, the golden age of Nitro Funny Car. You got Don Perdome, Kenny Bernstein, John Force, so many other greats out there racing, Al Hoffman, Chuck Etchels, all those great guys. What was it like racing a time in Nitro Funny Car where the small guy who probably didn't have a big budget could still go out there and be competitive?
Well, I started the funny car racing in '72, and so we raced for about 5 or 6 years with that Coke thing and match racing. That's how you made a living. That's how you supported everything. And then and sponsorships were, for me and guys like me were far and few between. You get a lot of help from manufacturers, things like that. But as far as cash money coming into the pot, it was done through match racing for me. That's where I got to know most of those guys pretty well, like McCullough and Roland and just all the different guys that have helped me, Tim Beebe, through the years, And so then I kind of quit and I raced dragsters. We drove a couple of other guys' cars, and I had one. Tim and I had a car, BB Murphy car. And then I think it would have been the late 80s, 86, 87, I ended up getting back into a funny car. And at that time, you needed some money. So I got some cash coming in and some other things. But it was always, whatever you got, there was never enough. Then it just got more expensive every year. And I think it was around 90, probably, 87, 88, right in there. This is crazy. I just can't keep doing this, I'm in the construction business, had a very successful construction business, but it's still, you're pouring money into those things at that time. And they were, the advancement you were making was tremendous. So you're always changing stuff, new stuff. And back when I ran at match racing, you ran the same stuff, and for a long time. And so, that's kind of how, I guess, why I just didn't, this is crazy. I can't keep doing this. I got a family and children and stuff. So.
And I'll tell you what, this is, of all the Holy Smokes cars, this is my favorite one, the Dodge Daytona, the green one. I love that paint scheme. This one was freaking awesome.
That was
my favorite of all.
That was a pretty car. I really like that one also.
Who's the guy on the starting line?
Buster Couch.
Buster Couch.
Buster Couch, man.
Couch.
I mean, you got to know that stance, right?
Look at the crowd there. Did you see the crowd on that thing?
Oh,
yeah.
That was an Indy. A lot of people there. There's another side to that too.
Nice. And so, trying to see who is that in another lane. I'm trying to think. I see the super winch. Who would that be? I can't tell right now.
I didn't catch that, Derek. Can you say that again?
No, I'm trying to see who that is in the other lane. I see the super winch sponsorship.
Oh, I think that was oh shoot. I know him well. I'll think of it. It takes me a moment. He's an East Coast guy. He was from East Coast. He raced good. He was a good racer. Drawing a blank.
I can't think of his name right now. But also, how did you get the actual Holy Smokes name though? How did you come about with that name?
I'd heard it somewhere. I was just getting into the funny car, the first one there, and I heard someone, oh, holy smokes, man, that'd be a really cool name for a funny car. It just heard it from someone else. So it was.
That's normally how all this stuff happens, man. It's just like,
You know,
like, oh, well, I feel like that's a good name.
And you know, you smoke the tires a lot. Someone, holy smokes, did you see that? That's pretty simple, actually. I almost thought about naming the dragster when I got it. Holy smokes! And I thought, well, it kind of was stuck with a funny car, and I thought it fitted a funny car much better than a dragster.
So, any of those pictures behind you got any real huge significance, or is this just multiple cars over the years that you've had? I mean, I'm sitting there looking at them. It looks like some pretty good pictures.
Yeah, there's a lot of pretty good stuff there. I don't know, there's a lot of winter circle things, and that's the car you like. There's a couple of pictures of that. That's a record thing. And I don't know. They're all special to me, I think.
So, you know, I asked this question to Kamaka about, you know, the March meet, you know, this being my first March meet going to it. Yeah. What, any advice to me about, you know, going to this race and how I ought to, you know, get in there and take everything in?
Sure. Well, I would say stay in your comfort zone. You know, don't go trying something goofy. You know, you got a new combination that's going there. Take it easy on it because and work up to it. Don't get all tied into the whole March meet stuff. You know, it's another race. I know it's special. Nevertheless, it's another race. And for you to do well, you need to make each run and just try and prove. I think Jimmy's going to help you some. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
He's sharp as a tack. Just listen. He won't let you get out of it. But stay in your comfort zone. You know, I think that's
and if you're in the right hand lane, know that it'll pull you into the center, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Darren, if you listen to the video, right, like a Q3, and I can't see anything behind me. I don't know who's back there. You see the picture, and there's like all these people back there, and Jim's one of them. And in the video, like I take off, and you hear him yell at Jimmy, he's crooked. I mean, like you can hear him like he's the loudest person in the whole room at that time.
You were lined up crooked. I just straighten him out. Who's on first here? And
that's what's really cool about, like, you have these guys, like you have Jim show up, you don't even know he's there, he's watching you run, sees what goes on, and then after the deal he comes over and tells you, hey man, you might want to look at this, you might want to look at that. You know, your head's going like this, and they'll just tell you, calm down, let me tell you what's going on. So he's racing Hall, right? Was it Hall? I think it was Hall. At the Hot Rod Reunion, whenever your drive shaft broke.
When he had his fire.
Yeah. So Jim's drive shaft breaks in his car, right? And I don't know if you've ever seen these drive shafts in these cars, but they're probably, I don't know, 1.1 inches, 1.25 inches.
No, that actually racing Brian, he had his fire stuff. That was a qualifying run, and so first round we were lined up again, and I basically. We broke an input shaft right next to the clutch, which is pretty rare. I think Mindy's the only other one I know, her and Tom Schalar, who broke an input shaft that I know of, because that's the same size as the Big Show has. You know, well, not now because the Big Show got larger and larger. But that's and that was my own fault, and I should know better. But I talked to Rob Moore about it. He said, well, how many runs you have in that thing, Jim? And I said, I don't know, how many should you run? He said, oh, maybe 60 or 70, you should change it. I said, I better got 200 runs on it. So that was just not maintaining, and, you know, just foolishness. And some of the things you don't think about, you certainly should, but you know, I just never thought about it. And the thing is, we had a spare one in the trailer.
Right. So, you know, stuff happens like in the racing, but the end part of it was I walk over to him and I go, well, what RPM did your motor go to? And I think he told me like 12,000 or something like that. I was like, what?
11.4 is what it went to, and everything looked fine. It didn't hurt at all.
I mean, you got to think about this. This is a nitro burning Hemi, and it hits 11 freaking 4. And I mean, that is unbelievable.
When we run, like we go 260 or that, we're at 10.4, 10.5 right in there. That's common. So
it's unbelievable what these cars can do, for sure.
It really is. When you stop and think about it, it's a 1957 Chrysler.
with a few upgrades. I mean, I'm running a dump truck motor.
Okay, so I don't know how we missed this, but I actually said his name when I was talking about 90s Nitro's Funny Cars. So the guy in the other lane is none other than the first man into the floors, Chuck Etchels.
Yeah,
that
was Chuck Etchels. Another thing.
Yeah, that was
Chuck Etchels. Chuck Etchels. And so I'm thinking like, wow, because I'm thinking that photo's 93, and I'm like, I'm sure he had Kindle on the car at that time, but this must have been pre-1993. So, but yeah, that is Chuck Etchels in the Super Winch car on the starting line. And then Tom Lukin says, hello. Oh, wait. Thomas Cindy Homer says Chuck Etchels. And then Mark Westfall says, that is Chuck Etchels in the Super Winch car next to Jim Murphy. So the great Chuck Etchels, first man into the floors in the other lane against Jim Murphy. How badass is that? That's cool.
Thanks, Darren. I'll be able to sleep tonight, not thinking about that. So I appreciate that.
Don't thank me. Thank people in the chat. They came up with it.
I'll tell you what, what I've seen tonight, and I don't get to see it till you put it up there, but man, we've had a lot of new people putting stuff in on the show, man. I'm excited for this deal. It's super cool to see all these people being interactive in this thing for something that me and Darren just one day started talking about and did. I mean, it's cool to see everybody on here, man. We appreciate everybody that's watching on the show.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's catching a wave here.
Yeah.
And so, speaking of catching a wave, that's a great transition into Roland Leong. I want to know how the connection with you and Roland came along. And correct me if I'm wrong, but Justin Calkins told me this, is that when Jim Young won the March meet in 2013, you guys bought that car and ended up winning the championship with that car in 2013.
That's correct. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was 2013. Frank Osley helped me, and he was the crew chief then. Both was in 2017.
2017, yeah.
I think 2017, and that we won the championship, and basically, it may not have been 17. We won the championship, but we damaged the front end, hit the wall. Basically, chute didn't open, it went over and kissed the wall and bent the front wheel and stuff. And we'd been hurting the motor every run. I said, let's just pack it in. We're probably not going to get it ready. We might have, but I wasn't sure that something else may have been bent on the car or damaged or something. And I think Jimmy Young won that year.
Yeah.
That took place.
I was there. I remember me and my dad had drove down from Los Angeles, and I remember I talked about this earlier. You're in a big time championship battle with Mindy Fry, and that was a big round right there. And you won the round. And like I said, you just see a whole bunch of piston smoke come out the back. You clinched the championship. You got Mike English on the doing the call, and you won the championship. And then I remember, you could see you kind of kissed up against the wall and bent the front end and couldn't make the final round, but still was an epic way to win the championship.
Yeah, it was another exciting story. Another exciting race.
Well, you know what's really kind of crazy if you think about this, Darren? We've literally talked about races from 1972 to 2022. I mean, that is an amazing career to have. I mean, I love it.
And a huge part of it is Daniel Wilkinson. We've been dear friends. We've raced together 50 years last year. It's 51 years this year. And he's just a special person. I don't know. I think he might have sent you, Darren, a picture of us at Orange County with that the red, white, and blue car. And it was we're just starting. That's probably the second or third time out by ourselves. And we both look pretty young, look like kids.
Did he tell you on the one show I brought up, I was kind of talking about that, you're probably going to be coming on the show and a little bit about your car. And I said, poor Daniel's sitting at the shop working on the car, and Jim's in Bora Bora, Tahiti, hanging out.
Yeah, I've always just loved working on the car, building stuff. I've got a nice machine shop and stuff, and I just love to do all that kind of work. I retired. It'll be 2 years ago this coming May. And so Danny and I spent a lot of time out there, most every day, or a good portion of it. He spends every day and some of the night, because I go in at 5 o'clock, and he usually stays on and keeps on working. He's a special person.
Yeah, I love talking to Daniel on the phone. He's always calling me some kind of crazy name, West Texas, Hollywood, or what.
He spent, I think, 17 years in Texas there, so he knows about you guys.
That's right.
We got a question here from Gary Wheeler Jr. We got to get him on the show soon as well. He says, ask Jim about the big, I'm guessing, win in Tulsa. Not sure exactly what year, but he's saying actually about the big win in Tulsa. Does that bring any memories to you?
Tulsa.
Gary, let us know what year in the chat, and we'll get back to that question.
In Tulsa.
Oh, he says bug in Tulsa. Ask him about the bug in Tulsa.
In the injector hat or whatever, wasn't it? Like it was inside the little knob, like the cricket. I think it was a cricket got sucked in there.
Oh, yeah. We did have a cricket in one of the air bleeds, and I'm sure that's what he's talking about. Yeah, that was another crazy thing. We've had a lot of crazy things happen in drag racing.
Because they put a picture out about that. I remember, I think Ricky Marshall showed me that picture of that cricket or whatever stuck up in there.
Yeah. They changed the whole idle system. So a cricket of all things. I think he must have just been snooping around there and got sucked right into that thing.
And so for you, Jim, like I said, you've been around this for a long time, a legend, not just in top fuel racing, but a legend in drag racing and all. Just kind of talk about who are some of your favorite people you love to like line up against or really got up for? Was it like, if it's Friendage in top fuel, was it Bill Dunlap? Was it Adam Sorokin? Was it Mindy Fry or just anybody? Who was some of the guys you really like enjoy lining up against?
Well, probably in the Friendage and drag show, the biggest rivalry I had was with Jack Harris. And Jack was a great runner, and we went back and forth for like 4 or 5 years there. He'd win, I'd win, back and forth, and it was a great rivalry. And he was a great guy, and so that was probably the biggest rivalry as far as in going to distance. But the guys right now are tough. I mean, I think Hilton's deal this year will be tough. With Bartone's old car, I think of course Rand's running really good. Jimmy Young's really running good. We had last year was probably maybe one of the, I don't know if the worst, but close to one of the worst years I've had racing, because we started out real well. I went to Kansas City there or St. Louis, I guess, and ran well there. And then I got pneumonia actually, and that's the first. I mean, I have been really blessed in my life. I've never been in the hospital other than accident or doing something stupid. Hold my beer, watch me do this kind of a thing. I just made some poor decisions in the tuning and running of the car, and it's coming back around at the reunion. And then we broke that input shaft because that first run in the input shaft, when the input shaft broke, it was pretty stout. It was going to run all right. And we run, I think, a 73 is what we qualified with, if I'm not mistaken. And that was a shut-off run, and so I think we'll be back.
Oh, I guarantee you, I don't ever count this man out on what's going on. That car is going to run. I was at the top end on that March meet. I seen exactly what that thing can do. It's a mean running car for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of the drag racing thing. There's nothing quite like it for me. It's so measurable, in 10 thousandths of a second. And there's no one holding up a sign that you're an 8 or a 9 or someone judging you that way. So it's very rewarding when you win because you have to earn it. Yeah.
Well, and I did a little deal, and I was kind of telling Darren a little bit about it. I kind of got a list put together, kind of everybody's best run this past year, just to kind of put out there, where this class is, as far as what it takes to actually try to win one of these races. And it is unbelievable. It is unbelievable what it takes to win one of these races. I mean, everything's got to be perfect. You're right. These guys are running 560s on a pretty regular, low 570s. I mean, I'm over here happy that I run, in the low 6, and I'm like the second slowest car out there, kind of deal. I'm thinking I'm doing everything in the world right. And I was like, I don't even need to be showing up to the damn race. I'm so slow. I need to try something else. But I mean, it's just this March meet race is probably going to be one of the quickest and fastest races that's come out of this group if it holds to what these cars can do.
In recent years, but if you look back really, Michael, the amount of 560 runs 10 years ago is about the same as it is today.
Yeah. I think it's just we've had maybe a few changeovers in cars and some guys that have come and gone or whatever. But yeah, I started kind of looking like, 2014, that run between like 2010 to 2014, there was some really fast cars. Like it was just, running 540s, running 550s, just stuff like that. Then it kind of like this. And now we're like on this big, huge uptick.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, I think you're going to see the quick cars will be there. Probably, I mean, we're restricted with certain things, so it's hard to really pick up much ET. I mean, you can little by little, but it's not in big jumps. But I think you're going to see some of the guys near the rear of the field start picking up and closing that gap between the front and the back.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I mean, you talk about, if you've got 8, 10, 12 cars that are capable of running in the 60s and 70s, that's some tough racing, no matter where you're at or where you're qualified at.
It certainly is.
So Michael guessed the bump spot last week on our last show. I want to put you on the spot now, Jim. What do you think the bump spot is going to be this year at this year's March meet? Can you give us a guess? What do you think is going to land?
I would probably say I think an 80, 84, 85 right in there.
Okay.
That's solid. That's solid. So, old Blaine O'Neill has got put together a trophy and this whole deal for this top fuel bump spot deal. Like it's a big, like he's figuring there's probably going to be about $4,000 on this winner on this bump spot thing.
Yeah.
I that's unbelievable.
What are you guys picking for a bump?
I said like 595-ish, something like, and really that my number comes from just thinking weather-wise, what the March meet is, in getting the car down the track, weather-wise.
Yeah. I think it's going to be kind of cold. It's always cold for the March meet. We're going to see a lot of tire shake. I'm going to go 590.
Yeah. Of course, Murphy was an optimist. You heard that before, I'm sure. So I'm always
Absolutely.
Well, I mean,
what do you think, Darren?
Well, I'm going to say this. We had some pretty cool conditions for the reunion too. And I mean, we still saw an 88 bump or 85. It would have been 85 for Brian, right?
Yeah. If Brian's 69 wouldn't have got thrown out, it would have been 85.
Yeah. So I'll say about the same. I'll say 85 to 90, somewhere around there.
Yeah. I think that's believable. But you're also correct. With the weather, it can get cold there. But I've been told that we're going to run on schedule.
Yes, that is true.
It's a big deal, especially for us because they're usually after the funny cars. So if we get that 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock time and we can start running then, no matter what else is going on, that will be a big help.
Absolutely.
One thing we forgot to go over though, and I know I should have looked into this more, but there were some new rule changes that were set, I believe, earlier today or came out sometime this week. Do you guys know anything about that and want to kind of add to it?
Well,
fuel pump rules?
The only one I know about is the fuel pump deal. It's going to probably be pretty similar to what it was. They were talking about disassembling them, and I saw the new rule package that came out, and it was bolded there. It's very similar. It's got to go to KJ Crawford to have a seal on it, and that. I think the big deal. I don't think anyone wants to take their pump apart at the track. I certainly don't want to.
Yeah, it kind of read a little bit different, but I didn't see anything that was too crazy. Well, I guess we'll see whenever we get there, though, because you never know what's going to happen.
I think the other rules were just clarified things, a little much more minor than the fuel pump. That was a kind of a big stickler and got a lot of attention talking about it and so forth and so on, as racers tend to do.
Yeah, anytime they got to spend money on something other than pistons and rods and bearings, they start getting pissed off. That's for sure.
Yeah.
What's Hall doing? He's on there. Is he talking smack or what?
Who's that?
Brian Hall. We were talking about what we thought the bump spot was going to be, and he threw it out there. He said 910. He thinks it's going to be a 910 bump.
He
also goes on to say, it was a 588 for an 8-car show. So yes, 8 more cars. You got to add 8 more cars. So that's a factor as well.
That's true. Yeah. Can I change my number?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, hey, it's not official until you get on Blaine O'Neill's list anyway. So you're good with whatever. All this is talking.
Yeah. We used to race against Blaine's dad. Yeah. So.
He's been a real good help, man. I love all these guys that, you know, maybe if they're not racing or whatever, that just want to be a part to help to, you know, promote their class. And there's a ton of these guys out there that, you know, they're just wanting to get out there and make something happen.
Yeah, he was a Santa Rosa boy, you know. So there's a number of racers who come out of Santa Rosa and the immediate area. Frank Bradley's one, you know, did really well. And Arnold Burke used to run quite a bit. Anyway, there's a handful of them.
And Darren, let me tell you another little deal that I found out just talking with these guys. Jim's daughter, Mindy Fry, went to high school together.
That's absolutely
really?
cool. Yep.
Nice. Nice.
It's a small world out there.
It really is, yeah.
You mentioned Frank Bradley. Since we're talking about him, Santa Rosa. I know Santa Rosa is very close to Sonoma, California. And you go back to the 1989 California Nationals. Frank Bradley raced Joe Amato in the final round. And obviously Joe Amato's the favorite, but he breaks on the burnout. And Frank Bradley gets his first career win in top fuel at the 89 California Nationals. That was a pretty cool deal. You see his wife on a starting line just cheering. That was a pretty cool highlight that I remember. I wasn't born yet, but that was a pretty cool deal in 89 when Frank Bradley won Sonoma. So, yeah. And then went on to crew for Mike Dunn and Darrell Gwynn in the 90s. So Frank Bradley, another legend in the world of drag racing.
Actually, I need to correct that too. Frank actually lived in Napa, which is a county right next to us.
Okay.
He lives in Santa Rosa now.
Okay.
He's moved there, but when he was racing, he was down in Napa.
What's Frank Bradley been up to? I mean, you still in contact with him?
He's big into off road, like down at Glennis, where they run the dune buggies and stuff. He's got big ones all hopped up and pretty neat. He and Maggie, they go fishing a lot. He's enjoying life and doing a good job of enjoying it.
Larry Minor, not too far, also, right? Is that close to Santa Rosa, Sonoma, Napa? I think Larry Minor, he's from Hemet, right? Is that kind of close by?
Yeah, he's in Southern California, out towards the desert. Yeah.
Oh, more desert. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, and then
Who
I know,
does
like,
Jim not know? I'm trying to figure out who he doesn't know and where they live at.
If you live long enough, Michael, you kind of learn these things.
Oh well, great, man. I'm excited to have him on the show. It's been an exciting time having you here, and man, thanks for definitely coming on and hanging out with us.
Well, thank you for having me. I've enjoyed it. It's kind of a hoot, making me pick my brain a little bit.
And Jim, I'll be doing the notebook for Competition Plus at the March meet, so I'll definitely be by to talk to you, interview, and get you in the notebook. So I'll see you in a few weeks.
Yeah, that'd be great. And what competition notebook?
Competition Plus. CompetitionPlus.com. Yeah, I'll be doing the notebook out there. So just basically coming by, doing some quick interviews, and kind of like just a rundown of the whole weekend, just logging all the results and stuff like that, for all the people at home. So yeah.
Be great. Look forward to it.
Awesome.
I haven't actually met you in person, Darren, so that'd be good.
What's funny though, I've actually walked past you a lot. I was just like, in passing. So I've always been wanting to talk to you. So great to finally, talk, here on the show.
Well, please come by.
We'll do.
Hey, before he gets off here too, Jim, do you want to mention, and I don't want to put you on the spot on the show, but would you like to mention about if you're needing crew, or I know that you had kind of talked a little bit about that.
Yeah, we still need probably one more guy. We've had a couple of guys say they weren't coming at the last minute, and so so we've got we could use one or two more guys. So someone's experienced in that. We'd love to talk to them. Thanks, Michael. Yeah.
I just thought about that whenever we were sitting there talking. I was like, there's a lot of people that are in this deal kind of watching. So, if you're out there and you've got a little, some experience in what's going on with these cars, reach out to Jim and his team and just kind of let them know what you know.
Yeah, most definitely. Because we thought we were all set, and it kind of came as a surprise. So
and be ready to work. Be ready to work.
We're not there to barbecue.
He's not running for 5th place. I'm going to tell you that right now.
No, we're really serious about it. We have fun. We do a good time, but we're there to win, not barbecue. We say.
Outstanding.
Like you said, 4 March meet wins as a driver. Drive for 5, trying to tie, Big Daddy Don Garlington 2023. Let's see if we can get it done, Jim. Looking forward to it, man.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Jim. See you in a few weeks.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Good.
See you, bud.
Bye-bye.
Crazy.
How about that? Jim
I
Murphy.
mean, can you imagine just the stories that he's got over the years, and just I mean, we've been on here sitting there talking to him for 50 minutes, and we probably just barely hit the top of what what they actually know.
Yeah. I tell you what, a lot of these drivers, like 30, 40 minutes is not enough to like kind of run down everything that's going on in their careers. Especially like Jim Murphy. We can go 2 hours with Jim Murphy. I mean, he's done so much.
Yeah, and you know what's so funny is like we always talk about, hey, we're going to do this, and here's we're going to try to hit these numbers, dude. We've been on here an hour and 15 minutes, and it doesn't even seem like it.
Let everybody in the live chat just know we don't ever plan on going an hour and 50 minutes. Like we plan on like hour 15, that's it. But it just goes over like all the time. Like it never fails.
You can't let them stop talking because you might miss out on something good.
Yeah, for sure.
Good deal.
Brian Fox says, if the bump is 910, I'm bringing my injected big Chevy car. I could win the March meet. And then Gary Wheeler says, what's the guess on how many Pistons gets donated to the gods?
Ooh, my God, man. It's got to be unreal.
And then best show on the net. I thank you, Jim Moody. I really do appreciate that. Thank you.
So Jim Moody, man, do you know him? Have you ever met Jim Moody?
Never met Jim Moody, no.
I meet Jim Moody in Boise, right? And we had kind of talked a little bit about it on Facebook, and he walks up with his dog. And like the dog, it's like the Basset Hound, kind of a hound dog looking deal, and he comes walking up and I'm talking to him, and he's like, hey, I'm Jim Moody. But I mean, great dude, like super fan of Top Fuel that we run, man. Like just a cool dude. What's up, Jim, man? I'm glad you're on the show watching.
So I got to ask you before we get off the air. Obviously, our next show is going to be the Wednesday right before the March meet. A lot of people will be traveling, so I just want to get the just kind of get the live chat, people in the live chat, everybody's viewing their opinion and get your opinion. Should we still try to go live and get some guests on, or should we do a tape delay show and drop it that Wednesday? What do you think we should do? Because like I said, a lot of drivers will be traveling.
I'm going to be at the track on Tuesday beforehand.
Okay.
And, at the deal, I know a lot of the guys are going to be in there like Wednesday and stuff. I have talked with Jim Young about being on the show on Wednesday. If you want to, I mean, we're talking about 2-time March meet winner.
Oh, yeah,
he's going to be there. We can sit there and talk with him. I say I take this little deal. I can set it up, or if you want to bring your stuff, we set it up in my trailer and get the dudes to come in, man. We'll have a Knights of the Round Table kind of talk and just talk about what's going on there.
I won't be there till Friday though.
Yeah, well then you can. Yeah, you can be there, and I'll set it up in my trailer, and we'll do it. We'll do it live right there at the track, man. I think it'd be. Let's do it. I think it'd be awesome. Yeah, get that whole view of what's going on.
Let's do it. I'm down. And then also, I mean, just what the fans want to see too. Like Sunday night when the race is over, like want to do like we'll go live then too. Let's it'll be cool.
Let's do it
on Sunday night. I don't know, like
we'll call it, the end of the March meet, hoorah or whatever. Because I'm gonna tell you, it's probably going to be crazy. It's probably going to be crazy.
You know what we should do? We should go live Sunday night after the race and just go down the whole like pit lane where they bring all the winners up and just start interviewing people. Just especially Top Field too, though. But just like just have fun with it. I don't know. Yeah. We'll think of something.
The whole thing. I mean, we need to. We're here to promote drag racing, and that's going to be a great time to be doing it. So if we can use this platform to do it, man, let's do it.
Let's do it. A few more comments before we get out of here. Let's see. Justin, he says. If Jim is on, it won't be kid friendly. And then Larry Gotcha says Jimmy will be good. Yes, sir. And then Al Kennedy says Mindy Fry on that show too. Cool, big Al California in the house. Praise Jesus Christ, grace, amen. So yeah, awesome. Well, Michael, another great show.
It's all. I mean, it's a. Can't thank everybody enough on there, man. Put stuff on there so Darren can read it, man. We love to see them comments on there. It's good stuff. And Larry Gocha, you need to be getting your car ready to be out there at the March meet. I want to see that dude run, man. Like his car makes some big header flames.
And one last thing, I'll tell you what. If you've seen his commercials, I played his first commercial before I brought on Kamaka Pocock. The Monday Morning Racer, Lee Craft, has a big following on YouTube, Facebook. He is going to be at the March meet. He's a good friend of mine. He's going to be trying to bring as much coverage as he can to you Top Fuel boys, the Funny Car Fuel Altered. So I think it's awesome that Monday Morning Racer is going to be at the March meet, giving a lot of coverage. Because like I said, he has a huge platform, over like 10,000 followers on Facebook, has a big YouTube following. So a lot of great more press for you guys at the March meet with Lee coming. So it's going to be a lot of be really cool.
I can't even imagine this whole deal, what it's going to be like. I mean, it's just, I think it's good. The buzz is going to be crazy, and these cars are going to be hauling ass, man.
So if you see a red bearded guy with glasses, just know that's
I
the Money
know
Morning
him.
Racer. Yeah, Funny Car Cam.
I know.
Oh yeah, you did.
I even hung out with him at the PRI.
There you go. Okay, yeah, he's gonna be there.
Awesome. All right, bud. Well, what do you think? You think we got 5 more minutes? We'll be on here like 2 hours. I mean,
I'm ready to go eat. I'm ready to go.
Let's go, bud. All right. I appreciate it.
Thank you guys all for tuning in. See you guys again in 2 weeks. Well, see you at the March meet. Good night, everybody.